Thank you so much for the introduction, and thanks for mentioning that I'm wearing no horns, uh, having spent 6 years in the cold Russia. But people forget to mention that I also spent 12 years in Washington, D.C. And if the Russians in 6 years was able to make me a CIA agent, Americans did not succeed to make me a CIA, no, a KGB agent in Russia. I was not able to be a CIA agent in 12 years. That sounds like a failure. So I think, but to tell you the truth, I'm a double agent. So listen, last year I was here exactly at the same time. It's a real pleasure to be back again in this great institution. At the very time last year, we had the General Assembly where we were talking the same issues, talking about sustainable development, the Millennium Development Goals. And of course, last year when I was here, issues were much more heated, close to, we're getting close to Dubai conference. And of course, I was forbidden to use the I word at that time, and I'm going to say it again. Yeah. At that time, I came here and I said to you that ITU is not about to take over the internet, the governance of the internet, and here we are. A year later, we didn't, and I was serious about it, and the issues that we talked then in Dubai were very relevant to the world. And I believe that now, after a year, many of you will see that we indeed undertook some very, very serious issues there, and the relevance of them will be seen as we move along. So at the WTPF, I even had to wear my blue helmet. So for some of you who were there, I hope you understood the joke. You did. uh, I was wearing the blue helmet and say, oh, ITU is not taking over the internet, and I think that again we were correct, and it was no need for such a really fierce battle that we went through. I believe that the world needs a real more calmer atmosphere so that we really deal with the real issues. Uh, the we are in a information technology world, IT world, and then the I world and the T world need to work together. Information and technology means the internet and telecommunications. I believe that the two worlds really have coexisted all this time. And I was telling you at the time that the Dubai conference was about making sure that there are sufficient networks that will carry the internet. Because we are here in Columbia University, in a highly high-tech university, in a highly interconnected city, New York. But what we tend to forget is that there's two-thirds of the human population that is still offline. And when you take the numbers in the 49 or so least developed countries, there are 890 million people in those LDCs. And 90% of them are not connected to the internet yet. 90% of them. 818 million people are still not connected in those countries. What we're trying to do is to bring them on board to make sure they also benefit from that. And this week, while I'm in New York, the debate is about meeting the Millennium Development Goals by 2015. The debate is about what do we do the post 2015, from the MDGs to the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals beyond 2015, and we need to make sure that access to broadband is part of that. And part of my overall campaign here is to make sure that the world leaders do put that on the agenda. Remember that there was no specific mention of broadband in the Millennium Development Goals. Of course, back in year 2000, when they were designing it, broadband was not a really keyword at the time, but now it is. So it's inconceivable to have the Sustainable Development Agenda post-2015 without mentioning broadband and the importance of it. And that ties to the theme of this year here, which is about video. And it's, of course, even though for the least developed countries that we're trying to connect, video is simply still a dream, because they will need to get the simple connectivity first. And that's really what we need to really focus on. And this is why the overall strategies that I've been trying to put in ITU since my election as Secretary General is to bring the people around that, developed and developing countries. What we're doing is not only relevant for developing countries or least developed countries, it is also relevant for developed countries, because some of the issues we're dealing with is youth employment today. And employment is a key problem in many of the developed countries, especially in Europe. And through the use of ICT, we can help solve some of those, not only for searching jobs, but to create jobs for themselves through the use of ICTs. And this is something that we really want to promote. This is one of the reasons why I created in 2010 the Broadband Commission with the Director General of UNESCO. And I'm very happy that some commissioners are here. Senator Conroy, Bob Pepper is here. Is another commissioner here? Huh? Yeah, Paul is here. And also I know Julius Yanakowski was supposed to be here too. He's, of course, no longer chairman of the FCC, but he's still continuous member of the commission. The commissioners were selected on individual basis, not based on their positions or their companies, and they were talking on their personal behalf in the commission, giving their input to the world leaders on how to make sure that we have a national broadband plan. And I can safely say that we have succeeded, because as we reported just on Saturday, at our last meeting here at the Yale Club, we have about 135 countries with a national broadband plan. And some of the findings of the report is that having a plan does make a difference already. Just like in real life, if you don't have plans, you don't succeed. You don't know where to go. Having a plan makes them succeed, make them also learn from one another in making sure that we benefit from the experiences in other countries, and also from the mistakes that are making. We are, after all, in the information society. It will be a pity if you make a mistake that was made already by lack of information in the information society, or reinventing something that was already invented for lack of information. Our next ultimate goal is a knowledge society, where everyone will be connected, will be using information, will be creating information and sharing it. Those are the four foundations of the knowledge society we're trying to build here, and which everyone, every citizen will benefit and also contribute to it, no matter where they are and no matter what their circumstances, and knowing especially the full potential that this society will bring to all of us, because it's based on human brain that's creating innovation, and that is one natural resource that is equally distributed everywhere. You will find in the poorest countries in the world that they have people with intelligence that can really bring innovation, and we're seeing that today. So the work we're doing this week is to make sure that we do embed broadband and connectivity and access to internet into the national plans, into the global follow-up for the beyond 2015. And this is one of the reasons why I organized actually just 2 weeks ago in Costa Rica, the first World Youth Summit. It was originally on the topic of cyber security. We wanted to, with the President Chinchilla, who is the ITU's patron for the Global Child Online Protection program, we wanted to get the children from all over the world to come themselves and talk about their own safety and bring their input to it. They decided to go beyond that. They decided to give their input for the post-2015 development agenda, to which they are part and parcel of, which will be their agenda themselves. They wanted to talk for themselves, about themselves, and that was very, very powerful message. I was very pleased to have seen President Chinchilla of Costa Rica delivering this message at the General Assembly 2 days ago, and yesterday she and I together handed over to the President of the General Assembly the report, the message of the youth of the world, to the world leaders for the future they are dreaming of, the future they want. And that's a powerful commitment that they are showing to us. So these are the type of issues that are ongoing now, and information and communication technology will play a very, very important role in this. I'm glad that all of the leaders recognize that, and if you look at all of the side events that are taking place this week here, from the Mashable Social Good Summit to the Clinton initiative, we have the information and communication technology as a key theme, as a key driver for it. Of course, when we talk about video, I believe that it's part of the whole structure. When you're talking about broadband access, because to be frank with you, with the least developed countries, video will not be the main driver. It will be access first, broadband second. And then you take the applications, health, education, that are powerful tools. But of course, then video will play a key role in that as well to help them. But they will have, for the moment, to try and go around some of those lack of high-speed connectivity that they don't have today, so that they will have to use some other means to overcome those. And I've seen some very good applications in this. I've seen in some countries where they are just an example, I was 2 years ago in Bangladesh. The Minister of Health himself was demonstrating to me the powerful new application they have for e-health. It's a minister himself. He really was convinced about it, and I was trying to ask him very negative questions, but he seemed very convinced about it. And I was very much impressed by some of the ways they are solving some of the issues, such as low speed. They said to me, yeah, sometimes they just switch off the voice so that everything is a video. So to give enough speed to this. So they are themselves finding the solutions to those things. And it's very important to note that. We are making sure that the key stakeholders themselves are the ones who believe in this. It's not an issue that the Ministry of Information and Communication is taking to the Ministry of Health or to the Ministry of Education. It's the Ministry of Health or Education that are coming asking for help in that area because they believe in it. They are, after all, the creators of the content. In fact, this is why when we created the Broadband Commission, I joined forces with UNESCO, because my constituency is dealing with the infrastructure only, not the content at all. And I thought that I should have someone from the content side who will be with me. And UNESCO is dealing with content for health, for education, culture, and science. And therefore, together we can move forward. We created exactly the same type of commission with the WHO Director General, called the Commission on Information Accountability don't try to find an acronym for that, Commission for Information Accountability. That would mean something else. Uh, for women and children's health. And together we are really putting the power of ICT to helping the health sector in moving the Millennium Development Goals. And this commission for of WHO is co-chaired by Prime Minister of Canada and President of Tanzania, just like our Broadband Commission for Digital Development is co-chaired by Carlos Slim and President Kagame. Two very strong leaders in their part and complementary. One is a political leader, one is a business leader. And that's how we feel that the role of ITU is becoming even more important. I'm pleased that by the end of my second and last term, did I say last term? No. By the way, last week when Angela Merkel was re-elected for a third term, he gave me some good ideas, good reasons why I think why should you have a term limit.
Of course, in New York, we also know about third terms. Mr. Secretary General, we have to be out of here at 2 o'clock sharp. And so we'd like to have 15 minutes for Q&A. Yeah. So if you can go on for another 5 minutes, and then we kind of open this up to Q&A. Thank you.
No, in fact, I'm almost done because I'm talking about my re-election already. So I think there's nothing more to add. No, let me just say that, conclude here by saying that, I'm very pleased with the new wave of interaction I'm seeing in the ITU. As you know, I came from private sector to ITU straight. And I was criticizing the Union or the United Nations while I was out there in the private sector. When I came there with the message that, hey, you guys are just in a credit-taking business. Either you take credit of everything or you kill it. Okay, let's change that. And they elected me. And they re-elected me again for a second time. And I believe that over the past 8 years, 7 years, I have 1 more year to go, I was very much satisfied with the way we've been doing business so far. Our latest great event was the World Policy Forum. And of course, you've all seen the synergy that we were able to bring in there while bringing cooperation and collaboration. And we need that. We need to bring in all stakeholders together. The latest thing that I've also done is to put a consultation on the internet public policy related issues for that I will be using as a consultation that I will be using as an input to the working group in the ITU. I want to make sure that we reach out to all stakeholders indiscriminately. I would like all stakeholders to also understand that we are part and parcel of the stakeholders group as well, and we'll continue to play our role very frankly. And there's no need to be really afraid of ITU, because what is ITU? It's our members. We have 193 member states, over 700 private companies that are members of the union. And we all know that we very rarely vote on issues. We really always try to come to consensus. It was unfortunate that last year we had to come and vote on issues that had nothing to do with the real debate. We voted in Dubai on a proposal by the African group that says that all countries have the right to access information and communication. Of course, the debate was heated simply because Iran supported that proposal, and it became a political issue. It's very unfortunate. I believe that in the real world, no one will dispute the need for every country to access information and communication. Out of that conference came out some very good things. One of the things we discussed this week here, because one of the themes of the General Assembly side events were accessibility. And the things we did for it's the first time in a treaty, in a global treaty, we have a special provision for accessibility in there. And I believe that those are very important themes. So my call on you is to please continue to work with us, we're ready to not only, we have an open door policy, but it's not enough. We know it's not enough. Because I'm always saying having open door does not mean that people will come in. I'm reaching out also. And that's why I'm doing all this, to make sure that we challenge one another intellectually. From friction comes light. And if we are able to challenge one another intellectually, we'll come to some very positive results. So thank you very much again. The floor is open for questions.
Thank you very much, Hamadoun. And now, any questions or comments? Heather Hudson, but please, when you speak, identify yourself.
Heather Hudson, thank you for your update. That's very helpful to see what you're doing to continue to try to get ICTs into the larger development agenda or agenda. I want to ask you about affordability as kind of one of the components of sustainability. I think that I quite agree with you that video is not the first driver in a lot of developing regions, although now that we're getting smaller and cheaper devices, and we have a lot of online content from university courses to YouTube videos that people can look up to learn a lot about anything. How do you see people in the developing world, even if the networks get upgraded, being able to afford to use? Because we've had some discussion here about content caps and pricing policies that the industry is struggling with, but users in many countries also struggle.
Yeah. No, I mean, video will continue to play a key role. I mean, there have been a very old saying that's saying one picture speaks more louder than 1,000 words, and that's clear about very clear, and especially when you're talking about education and education in every languages or things like that. That some of them are not written languages, and therefore we are dealing with many types of people with different levels, and therefore video and pictures will be playing a key role in that. For affordability, I mean, standardization is a key. I mean, with the latest compression techniques that was approved by in the ITU-T, for instance, to give possibility of transmitting the same video quality at half of the requirement of capacity, and therefore, if you I hope more slow will be applying to this, and the capacity needed will be less and less over time, and therefore will be more affordable. Affordability is key. We always say we need to have access, but affordable and secure access to information. Security also is one of the very key elements. Of course, very sensitive, but one will have to talk about it as well.
Let me take the next question, but make a comment, just a brief comment, which is, I think that people sometimes think of let's say, video in developing country in broadband as some kind of result of network expansion. But I think one can also see it as a driver of network expansion, because it is an application for which people, even relatively poor people, pay money for, and therefore it can generate the funds that local providers can use in order to develop networks without outside investment funds. So that was an observation. Now, Ken.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if you could provide some insight and perhaps some specifics on what the IC might be considering that maybe a little bit different in the future. We know what the past is. Go forward in the emerging market, emerging broadband, bring economic prosperity, and have the innovation on
Yeah.
policy.
Absolutely. No, that's a very key element, and you're right that video is when you're talking about video, some people may think only the entertainment part of it, actually, which is not. There's a lot of content that is video-based that is important. uh, you know, you can have a diagnosis on a skin disease by just sending a picture or a small video of it, short video that can enable a doctor from very far place to do a diagnosis. So it will be key element. And the same thing for education. It will be very important. And so we have to really keep that in mind when we're doing this. And that comes to the broadband issue on the mobile broadband that you're talking about. Yes, indeed. And the world have seen it. It took the world 125 years to reach the first billion fixed lines. Only 9 years was taken to reach the first billion mobile broadband. And the second billion the world will never see the actually second billion fixed broadband. If it simply didn't happen. And it's not going to happen. And the second billion mobile broadband took only 2 years. That's the thing that is happening. And of course, it puts a lot of pressure on ITU in the art sector for spectrum management, for coming with new ways of managing spectrum and allocating spectrum, looking at you have to look at everything from near field communication to the new bandwidth that need to be opened. And this is why in 2010, during the plenipotentiary conference, I have recommended that we ask a new type of membership, which we saw academia. You know, I remember I told you we have 700 companies that are members of the union. It's private sector, civil society, and others. But there was no academia in it. We opened a new type of membership because I'm an engineer myself. We know in the engineering school we study the ITU standards, both ITUT and ITUR standards, but there was no feedback in the R&D, research and development, that goes in academia. There was no feedback to ITU. So I recommended there was a missing link. There was a missing piece there. That was academia, and our members has agreed to open that type of membership. And I believe that through that we're going to have a lot of new innovations that are coming. We already have over 70 universities that are joined as member. I'm working with Professor Jeffrey Sachs to try and encourage Columbia University to be one of the members of the union as well, and I hope that we'll have that. So these are some of the things that we want to do, so that we really have all of the players in there, so that we can move the research and development far enough, you know, to challenge ourselves to meet the commitments. But some of the decisions that have been taken in terms of digital migration by 2015, those are moving very well, and I believe that it will open up the doors for many things. The white spaces are some other areas that we need to look at, and I was very much impressed by the things done here in the U.S. by Microsoft and others, and I've been working with them to try and see how they can embed those works in the work of the union, and we're gonna take up those issues. And by the time I leave this union, I hope that we're gonna open those doors to all of the stakeholders, so that we really have some new blood in it.
Thank you very much. How much is that membership?
Oh, yeah, for
Put it on Indiegogo and we'll raise it.
no, it's very symbolic. It's $3,000. You know, it's $3,000 membership for, you know.
Okay, Dave was just kind of starting to talk.
We've got a room full of people.
Louder.
Sorry, Jim Bernstein, I write about some of this stuff. We've got a room full of people who've been thinking for a number of years about how to bring what we have in the internet to Africa, to Asia, to bring our advantages to them. Suddenly it's going to change, because in 2 or 4 years, there are going to be more Africans on the internet than Americans. And what I thought would be interesting to ask you is, how will the internet change
Thank you. That's a very, very good question, and that's very relevant. When I was saying that the issue we're dealing with is powered by human brain, and that's a natural resource that is equally distributed everywhere, it applies there again. Um, the and you're right that the numbers are growing. I mean, just 15 years ago, I was interviewed on CNN, and the gentleman was telling me that the numbers, there was more phones in New York City than the whole of Africa. And at that time, I was saying, my response was that I don't look at those negative numbers. I'm looking at what are the potentials in Africa. If there is 10% penetration in Africa at that time, there was 90% potential for growth. If I go to a country where the people are not wearing shoes, I'm saying, oh, there is an opportunity for shoe business here. And that's what I do. When the Africans come on the internet, they will be even more innovative. You will give them the opportunity if and I'm telling the leaders here, you have to train their brains so that they can contribute as well. You know, Africans in little poor and rural areas are on a daily basis building softwares just to survive. A software is a survival kit. It's a survival tool. It's a solution tool. And they are doing that on a daily basis. So if you train them on how to make a software, they will come with many more innovative solutions. And we've seen already some new services, new applications being conceived, developed, and implemented in Africa. Look at the M-Pesa, mobile payment. It was designed there for people, by people who do not have bank account, who want to transfer just $2 to $5, for which the current banking system is not fit for. And therefore they came up with this. And now our mobile payment systems are based on that. So you have innovation coming from everywhere. And that's the beauty of internet reaching everywhere. And I believe that it will really make the world a better place.
Richard has his hand on.
Thank you, and thank you, Secretary General Richard, the lawyer and
No one is perfect, right?
Your aim is to encourage the Sustainable Development Goals, which is state run.
Yes.
Both to put in broadband and global internet accessibility somehow into the Sustainable Development Goals, and I know it's a tough exercise because everyone wants to get something in. I'm guessing that accessibility to the global internet may raise some sensitive political questions in certain countries that are influential. Would you be content to have broadband and not accessibility in those goals, or is accessibility critical? And by accessibility, I mean accessibility to the global internet.
You know, when we are addressing this, it's a very important question because you wonder where you're starting from. They're all important. Broadband is the ultimate goal that we're looking at, you know, but you start by the low-hanging fruits. Just like when we are talking about cybersecurity, people were not agreeing on any of even a definition of what is a crime or who should deal with it. They were not agreeing. And I was sitting in a room and saying, look here, we're not moving, we're not going anywhere. That's how I came with the Child Online Protection Initiative. Children, oh, that's a common denominator. Those are the low-hanging fruits that you put there and people will start doing something. Accessibility is another one. It's an easy term. It's an easy topic to address. Why? It's not, even though it may sound complex, it is not. It is one of the low-hanging fruits because you have accessibility issue everywhere. It's a cross-border thing. You have accessibility due to disease, due to birth, malformation, due to wars. But the new type of accessibility issues are even due to the fact that we are living longer. With age, people will naturally have some type of disabilities, and therefore it's an issue for everyone, including those developed countries where people live much longer. And therefore, it's a common denominator. It's much easier to get a common understanding on it than anything else. When we start with those things, you can move forward. Just like I was saying when in the cybersecurity, when we find a good global framework of cooperation for protecting children in the cyberspace, guess what? The same framework will work for anything else. You can explain it easily, and you'll be moving as you talk. And that's some of the key issues. I think we are bringing issues that are sensitive, that are people cannot dispute, that are issues of accessibility, issues of gender equality. Gender is an issue, and it's an issue everywhere. In this country, you don't have gender equality. And this is a problem. So there are many issues that when you bring them, people will not dispute them, and therefore you will force them to move forward and have a common policy and a common agreement on it.
Now, I'll make a comment, and then I will invite pretty much lots of hands up there to speak seriatim, and then you perhaps can kind of address all of them together. But I would make a distinction between commonality, common values on access and accessibility to that of child protection. That seems to me more of a content issue. Content issues, different countries disagree, individuals versus governments, parents versus government. And so it's not quite as clear to me that this is a governmental function, and B, that it's an international governmental function, and that it is as easy to, well, it's always easy to agree to protect children, but exactly what is being protected is going to be, I think, more difficult than it may seem. That was an editorial. Now let's kind of hear Susan, and you have kind of raised your hand many times. Why don't you start, and then Susan, all right? Because your hand was up first.
Sorry, 2 days ago, President Dilma said here in
We'll just have several people.
for the UN to take a major role on the internet governance. She's also proposing in Brazil to not allow to force OTTs if all the country in Brazil uses data, which would really change the rules. We'd love to hear your views on that remark.
We'll do this in a moment. Susan?
Point of care, diagnostic vital devices are emerging in the area. Complex announcements from the NIH, described that over 500 scientists shared So do you have a special interest group in any public-private partnerships, specifically addressing point of care wireless diagnostics, processes, evangelists, Second, do you sponsor any micro-entrepreneurial funds for women, as one of your interests within the southern area?
Okay, that was number 2. Was there somebody? Yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to say one of the more impressive education. Columbia has between 5,000 broadband centers, including from countries that everybody has access to. I just been thinking, in Africa, where is a leading effort on the education.
Is there any other comment here from the floor? So we had 3 issues. There was education, there was health, and there was Brazil and wiretapping and stuff like that.
Well,
One
sorry.
One more. I just wanted to see if you had any comment about the internet.org movement run by Salvador and some of the other larger
Louder?
outlets here in the U.S.
Can you repeat?
I was asking if you could comment on the internet.org movement led by Facebook, Zuckerberg, and the rest that are trying to bring affordable, efficient broadband, wireless to the other 5 billion people out there.
Okay. 4 questions, 3 minutes.
Okay, that's good. No, I take from in the reverse order. The one on the internet.org, I've frankly uploaded those efforts actually, because it's about time the people who are dealing with the content also think of the infrastructure side, because we see an exponential growth in content. And that was one of the key reasons why last year there were frictions, there were misunderstanding, because the people dealing with the content and the one with the infrastructure were trying to fight one another. And it's about time that they look at it. And if we really try to find some solutions together, it would be nice. I believe, and I'm planning to actually reach out to them to try and see how ITU can also get involved and work with them. And I found it very much useful, and it was about time. And I invite everyone else to really think out of that, because we're really running into bottlenecks in terms of infrastructure, and therefore the exponential growth of the content does not go with the same speed as for infrastructure. And you need to have value for the money or return on your investment, and therefore it is creating a serious problem. So on the second question was on the where the leading efforts in Africa in terms of e-education, things like that. I think there are a number of countries that are dealing with it. The first that comes to my mind will be President Kagame from Rwanda, who is really put a lot of effort. Of course, he's leading the Broadband Commission and encouraging other countries to have a national broadband policy. You have some other countries like Uganda, Kenya, that have done a lot of efforts in that direction. Those are the three countries that will come to my mind. Now, but I would like to just say a few words on the security side. It's not only on the child online protection. It's not only content related. You have content and infrastructure issue, because this is a technical problem, but it is also a content problem. Of course, there are always technical solutions, but technical solutions are driven also by policy. We have to take a look at that. So let's have the two worlds talk to one another, and not say that, no, you have nothing to do with this, because the two will be complementary. And we can do that in a very much calm atmosphere without entering into very heated debates. And also, we can do all this with keeping in mind that privacy and freedom of expression and freedom of people are key. And this is the very reason why people are talking about security, in fact, in reality. So I really always disagree when they tell me, no, this is only a content issue. No, it's both worlds. We have to, and as an individual, each and every one of us are also involved in it. So, and therefore, it's not because I work for ITU or a telecommunication company that I should not be dealing with it, because as a human being, I'm also, I have a stake into it. I have children who need to be protected. And therefore, we need to talk about it as such. So, and I believe that there are some really good ways to get good reason. Yeah, I was very much, I was in the General Assembly room day before yesterday when President of Brazil had a very long speech about this issue. I knew she was going to talk about it, because I knew the extent of the debates between the different countries that are usually friends, that were all now shocked by the extent with which there were some cases of over espionage. But I always, you know, I think that we can still have national security, because there are very serious national security issues that are at stake. I mean, I'm not gonna be here to defend any country, but I can say that you have to. There have been many 9/11s that have been saved, that have been prevented so far. But now, privacy and freedom of expression are very key, and we have to get to those things. And I think that there is room for collaboration of all member states, and taking into account the nature of internet itself. I think there are ways to talk about this in a friendly way, and I think that the current debates are going in the right direction, because people are very serious about it, and everybody is saying, no, we don't want anything to happen again as usual. But it's a very important debate. I believe that there is room for cooperation, and the doors will be open from now on for the partners to work together. And we don't have to be in the same camp to deal with these things. I think everybody should come together. The issue on M-Health, I'm not aware of this conference, but in ITU we do have a unit in the D sector that is dealing with mobile health. there is a program called Empowering. There is also a working group in the standardization sector that is dealing with these issues, and therefore there is a number of cooperation and collaboration with the World Health Organization, because while we are trying to do this as well, we have to make sure that the medical practitioners are the one taking the lead, and technology will just be following, you know. But standardization will be key to ensure that there is interoperability, and also there is a widespread implementation as well. So the two worlds will continue to be complementary. We don't have a budgets per se for projects, because our overall goal is to ensure policy, to encourage policy, and we believe that there will be government role in investing, but also they will give the opportunity for private sector, also giving them the right environment for investment.
Well, this was really fascinating, and I wish we would have more time, but I think there's some other people, some other group breathing down our neck for us to vacate this room, and we have a panel coming up in 10 minutes, and you're back in yours hall. And if you have the time, we'd be very honored for you to be in the audience. So first I would like, of course, to thank you very much for taking the time. And sharing with us generously your thoughts and your time and your insights and your experience. So thank you very much. But I also would like to take the moment to say that the real highlight of the season now is not the UN, not President Obama or whatever speech, but actually tomorrow morning at the Hotel Pierre, I'm told that Dr. Touré's wife, Kumba, is hosting a fashion show for first ladies, and so that's the event of the season. So thank you very much again.